What's up, everyone? Nurse Blake here, and in this video, I have on a very, very special guest, and we are going to talk to you about travel nursing. I actually have travel nurse Brittany here with us today. What's up, Brittany?
Hi, how are y'all doing?
I know I'm doing good. As you guys tune in, if you have any questions about travel nursing, drop them in the comments below, and I will have Brittany answer them live for you. And if you're watching this a little bit later and you're not live, type in hashtag replay, type in your question, and Brittany or I will be able to answer it for you. But let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Seattle, Washington. And Brittany, you're in Washington State too, right?
I am. I'm at Seattle Children's currently, so I am here in Seattle, Washington as well.
And how are you liking it in Seattle?
I really, really like it. I've actually been here since July of last year, and I've done 8 contracts, so this is my longest contract for
So
sure.
you must really like it.
Yeah, I've almost been here a year.
That's so cool. I've almost been here a year too.
Yeah, so we are following each other around.
I guess so. So tell everyone a little bit about your background in nursing, where you started, where you graduated from.
All right, well, so nursing wasn't actually my first degree. I went to the University of Miami for my BSN in an accelerated program.
Okay.
And I graduated in August of 2011, and then I went straight into a pediatric nurse residency program at Cook Children's, which is in Fort Worth, Texas. And then our program there is about a year long, but halfway through you get placed. And so 6 months in, I was placed into the PICU, which is where I've been ever since. I did staff there for about 4.5 years, and then I started travel nursing. And since then, we've been to 5 different hospitals. And the first one was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then Arkansas Children's in Little Rock. And then we were in California for 7.5 months. I was at Children's Hospital of Orange County, and then I also did a NICU contract in Riverside at Parkview Community Hospital, and then came up to Seattle Children's.
So jealous. Like my Instagram, like it's nowhere near as like fun and exciting as travel nurses because you guys have like the best pictures. You guys are always going to like the coolest places. So I'm always
Yeah.
living vicariously through travel nurses.
I honestly was too until we started doing it, and it's as amazing as it looks.
Is it really?
Yes, like I mean, there are definitely good and bad to it, but like I would say most of it is just amazing. Like I would do it 100 times over, for sure.
So you're just gonna keep on doing it, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll settle down when Izzy gets into school, but I think when our kids are in college, I definitely want to do it again.
So you mentioned it, but to everyone watching, and especially me, I thought like travel nursing, when people mention it, I'm like, oh, that's only for single fun people. Like only single people can be travel nurses. They
Right.
always have the best time. But you actually have a family that we're going to meet a little bit later.
Yeah. So we started travel nursing when our daughter was a year old.
Okay.
And I had the same idea too. Like travel nursing is for single people,
Right.
people that are not even in relationships, don't have kids. And my husband brought up the idea to me, and it was really stemmed because like we got married, and then shortly thereafter we bought a house, and then I was pregnant, and so once she came along, I mean it was amazing and lovely, but we were on opposite schedules, and
Okay.
it was like he was every Monday through Friday 9 to 5, and I worked every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that we could keep her out of childcare just because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And when he brought the idea up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. No way this is going to work. But the more I looked into it, the more I was like, maybe this could work. And so we sold our house. The people that bought it from us bought like 90% of our stuff, which was so liberating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we moved in with my parents and then hit the road a few weeks later, and we haven't looked back. We have 3 suitcases in our Subaru Forester, and that's all we have on the road with us, and it
That's so
is
awesome.
amazing.
I love, and Izzy's 3 now.
She's 3 now. Yeah,
What a cool life as a child growing up. Number one, to have
yeah.
a nurse as a parent is already, I think, pretty cool. But then to have one that's a traveling nurse is like freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh, this kid, like, she's more well traveled than I ever was until this point. Like, she has never spent like a birthday in the same place. She's gonna be 4 at the end of this year, and she's always asking, "What hotel are we going to next? Like,
I
where do we
love
get to
that.
visit? Are we gonna go to Canada?" Like, she, and then like we actually recently just found out where we're gonna be headed next. And I think like every day this week she's like, "Mom, high five, Boston! We're going to
Ah,
Boston!" So
that's
she's
so
like really
cool.
pumped about it.
I
Yeah.
love it. So those of you who are tuning in, I'm Nurse Blake, and I'm actually chatting with travel nurse Brittany, who travels with her family, which is I think is so cool. So those of you tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from, and then we're already starting to get questions. So are you ready for your first question?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're getting this from Bree. What is your living situation like as a travel nurse?
Well, it's kind of varied, really, depending on the location, because as a travel nurse, every geographical location has different costs of living, you know? And so we've elected to find our own housing every place we go, because you can either do company housing or take the stipend and find your own. And so we sold our house, and then our first assignment, we were in a tiny home, which was like 250 square feet with the three of us, which sounds crazy, but our daughter was small enough to be in a pack and play. And then it was like a studio, you know, so like our bed turned into a couch during the day. And then from there, when we went to Arkansas, we actually had like a 1,400 square foot house. So it really just depends on where we're at. Here in Seattle, we're renting a basement. And then when we were in California, we elected to stay with family. So
Okay.
it's always different. We tend to use Airbnb, or there's a travel nurse places for rent Facebook page.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's where we found our place here, and then also in Boston as well.
That's I love that. You're
So
like a gypsy,
yeah,
just
it's just
traveling all over with your family.
whatever, where it takes us, because all we have is our suitcases. So we need, a place that has, furniture and like kitchen utensils and everything like that. We just bring our clothes with us, and so whatever they have is what we got to use.
So awesome. That's
Yeah.
so awesome. So tell me about some of the perks of being a travel nurse. I know you get some of your like living and housing paid for sometimes, depending on the contract.
Right. So you get a meals and incidental and housing stipend per day for the assignment that you're on. And if you elect to take the company housing, then you just get a meals and incidentals per day.
Okay.
So, we've always done the stipends. And like for us, I think the biggest perk is honestly the time we get to be together, because, my husband stays at home now that we're traveling. So I do my 312s, and then the rest of
Okay.
the time we have together. And, you know, like here at Seattle Children's, they've been absolutely fabulous with scheduling. Like usually we do a 3-1-3. So it's kind of rough because it's a lot of shifts in a row, but then I have like 7-8 days off, and we always take advantage of that and go camping or just take like a weekend trip somewhere, and with it being during the week, having the time off, like, everyone's working. Normal people are working, so there's no one out, which we love. So
Yeah.
it allows us to camp easier, to go like find hotels or Airbnbs to go explore other places that are nearby our location.
I love following your Instagram. I know you sent to me a few days ago, and the pictures are awesome. What is it again that people can find you on Instagram?
It's Going Gone Garcia's, and
I love that.
that
So
was my husband. That's all him.
I love that. I'll actually, when the video's over, I'll put that in the description so everyone could go follow you and check and like be super jealous of all your adventures. But Tori asks a question. Tori says, "Is your husband a nurse as well?"
So actually, no. He has his master's in sports management. He used to be an athletic coordinator for city government before we started traveling. And he did some marketing shortly after we left on the road, like I guess remote. And then we quickly figured out that, I was able to support our family on my income, and we were just like, let's just do it and take advantage of the time we get together and not really have to worry about the extra stress. And that's what we've done the last like 2 years.
That's so cool. I love that. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I want to be you. We're getting more questions. Awesome questions. Adriana says, "Do your contracts vary, or are they the same length?"
They've all varied a little bit, honestly. Most of them are like 13 to 15 weeks. I would say Albuquerque and Little Rock were both 13 weeks, but then in Arkansas, I did stay an extra 2 weeks just to get myself through the holidays. And then Children's Hospital of Orange County was a 15-week contract, and then Riverside was 13 weeks. And then here at Seattle Children's, they do 15-week contracts, but
Okay.
I've extended like 3 times or 4 times. And this last time I did like 20 weeks. So it's really, a lot of hospitals are willing to work with you depending on like what you're looking for, as long as you meet that first requirement with what their contract is.
Okay. And how long were you a nurse before you started traveling?
So right under 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, since I know you've been traveling a while and you were a nurse for 5 years, what would you recommend as someone who is a new grad and they want to be a travel nurse? Like, what do you think is a good time being at the bedside in one location before
Right.
becoming a travel nurse?
A lot of agencies recommend 2 years, and I would really agree with that. Just because as a nurse, you have to be so confident in your assessment, your skills, and advocating for your patient that taking care of a patient is the same anywhere you go. And I learned that, but the difference is the policies, the people, how you interact. So you just have to be confident in your skills because you're going to be in a different place. No one knows you, and you're going to be able to have to fight and advocate for what you think is right with your patient. And as long as you feel comfortable in that skill set, which for myself I felt like around the 2 year mark is where I felt good in doing that, but at that time I didn't see myself as a traveling nurse.
Okay, you're right.
But I
Yeah.
would say probably 2 years is a good solid foundation.
And because your orientation when you sign up at these hospitals is like
Yeah.
a few days, right? You don't get like the full
No.
2 month, 3 month orientation.
No, it's like some places maybe give you like a little bit of computer training, like a couple hours, and then you get 2 or 3 shifts where basically like you come in and they're like, here's where things are. You have a preceptor, but they expect you to be an experienced nurse and like do your stuff. So like
Right.
really the difference is like, okay, what are you guys chart? What's important to chart here? What cares do you do at certain times? But other than that, like your orientation is really just someone kind of like watching you, because
Right.
it's not like
Yeah.
when you're a new grad and like they're like, okay, come in, let's see how we do things here. It's like, nope, you go in and do your assessment, and I'm going to watch you and kind of let you know, like, oh, we also do this, this, and this.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a long orientation. You can't go right out of school and be a
No,
travel nurse. You definitely want to be comfortable in your own practice because really it's about the safety of your patient and also your
definitely,
license as a nurse.
definitely.
You know, we have more questions.
Yeah, bring them on.
Adriana says, did you get to pick where you want to go or is it pre-selected?
Always choose where I go. And
So,
that is the beauty of a travel nurse. Like you work for well, really, it kind of goes both ways. You work for an agency, but they also work for you. As long as you're licensed and have the appropriate credentials, you can pretty much go wherever you want. Like there's international traveling as well. I'm actually going to start embarking on that just a little bit here in the fall. But yeah,
tell us where you're going.
I'm going to St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin
I want your life. You're so lucky. It's going to be so much fun.
Islands. I'm very excited about it.
I can't wait to follow you on Instagram.
Please, yes.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you always get to pick where you go, and that you negotiate, but you have to know, certain locations pay different rates and things like that. But if you're really wanting to go just to travel, then that's kind of part of the fun of it.
I love it. Those of you tuning in, we have 123 of you watching. If you have any questions about travel nursing, submit them in the comments down below. And then don't forget to share this video. We still have more questions. We're only like halfway done.
All right, let's
So
go.
let's do this. You've a lot of pros about travel nursing. Like you've
Yeah.
listed so many great things. Is there any, or are there any cons about travel nursing?
For myself, like I really love having my family close by and like my friends. And so I was staff for about 5 years at Cook Children's, and it was very, very hard, like leaving my my group, like, and my home, because I grew up in Fort Worth, and I'm a Texas girl, so I really miss that and having that foundation. But then also too, when you come into these new facilities, especially if you're like traveling every 13 weeks, it's a new hospital, new people, they don't know you. You have to go through this like hospital training again and again. So that kind of gets monotonous. And then by the time that you do get comfortable with your stuff, it's time to go to the next place if you don't extend. And some hospitals will try to take advantage of the fact that you're a traveler, because there's certain patient assignments as nurses we all know that no one wants. And as a traveler, you tend to get first pick of those.
Okay.
And not all places are like that. Like, don't get me wrong, but that's, one of the things that I've seen at some facilities. But then other times, there's hospitals like the one I'm at currently, and I've really enjoyed because I've told them multiple times, I'm like, thank you for giving me, high acuity kids, because I feel like I'm using my brain, and, and they will get to know your skill set and stuff the longer that you've been at a place, or, even if you prove yourself early on, you just have to be, like I said earlier, confident in your skills. So
I got this comment from Jessica Elizabeth. She said, "Come back home."
Oh, that's my sister-in-law.
I pulled it up right there. She's like, "Come back home, please, and thank you," with like this big smiley face.
I love you, Jessica.
I love that.
I know my mom's watching, and probably my mother and father-in-law and my parents. So we love all of y'all.
It must definitely be hard, but they could always come out and hang out with you in these coolest places ever.
And they've all been amazing and visited us like every place we've gone, which has been so cool because, like, when are we ever going to get to do this again in our lives? That's kind of what Nick and I like determined. We're like, was one of the deciding factors too. We're like, man, we could never do this again. Like, let's just take advantage of it and live life, and
do it. And I know you, I don't know about you, but me as a nurse, like the biggest lesson I've learned in life is you only live once.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky to have learned that lesson. And I kind of, use that motto. It really YOLO, really. You only live once. So I love that you're doing this and doing it with your family. Danielle says, do you have to have a BSN to be a travel nurse? You don't have to.
No.
And it's not, travel nursing isn't just for RNs. You could even be an LPN and become a travel nurse. Really, any job in the hospital typically will look for travel staff to come and help out.
Techs, RTs, surgical techs, CNAs that all travel.
Yeah, I think that's so. Yeah, if you guys are a tech or LPN, you could travel. So what's your next assignment? Boston
Children's. Yep, we're going there in July. So I'm really excited about that. Actually, we've never been up there, so we're so pumped to just see the history and just experience the culture.
You're going to have so much fun. I was just in Boston for the Red Sox game, and then I was for Nurse Night. Then I was just in Boston again for the NTI Critical Care Expo. And Boston is the architecture and just walking around and the old buildings and the brick streets. You are going to love it. It's going to be so much fun.
And
then after Boston,
good time of year too for the summer, fall.
Oh, for sure. Before the winter. And then from Boston, you go to
St. Thomas.
That's so awesome.
So it's kind of unusual as a traveler to be contracted out as far as I am, because right now I know my contract until February 9th. Okay. Usually you don't start locking down your next assignment until about you're 6 weeks out from when you're going to finish your current contract. Okay. So I just got lucky with timing because the unit that I'll be going to in St. Thomas actually have a nurse going out on maternity leave. So the timing worked out well, and they're still recovering from the hurricane. So that's why that worked out. But usually I don't want people to think you can totally plan out your whole year and everything like that. But it's usually about 6 weeks or less out before you start your next one. So you really just kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
Okay. Melissa says, can you travel practice internationally? And you're kind of getting your feet wet in that.
Yeah, so I know some people that are trying to go to like Europe and stuff. I don't really know all the logistics as far as that, but with like the U.S. Virgin Islands, because it is a U.S. territory, any like valid U.S. license is accepted there to get reciprocity and get a license by endorsement. So you just have to fill out their application and kind of do it that way. I also know some people that have gone to Guam and Puerto
Okay.
Rico, which I think is a similar process.
Okay. Yeah. So when so sometimes with licensing, you have to get licensed in these states if it's not a compact state, and
Yeah,
that can be a process and costs
for sure.
some money.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the agencies, I've actually been with the same agency for 2 years now,
Okay.
and they're fabulous. They've reimbursed for every licensure cost I've ever had and more.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
like, so it's once you get the assignment, they reimburse you for it.
Okay.
But I have gotten a couple licenses where I'm like thinking I'm gonna go there and then end up not going
Not,
there, and so then I
but you
have
still
to eat
have
that
it
cost.
just in
Yeah,
case. Yeah.
for sure.
Seth said you mentioned you sold your house and then started traveling, but do you think it's possible to still travel while owning a home?
Oh, definitely. Like we didn't want to like have to worry about renting it out to someone or
Right.
leasing or whatever. So that was our personal choice, but I know people that definitely like do that for sure.
Okay. I want to meet your family. I want
All
to
right,
meet
let's get
meet
them
Nick
out
and
here.
Izzy. Yeah, let's bring
Nick
them
and
in.
Izzy.
I'm so excited about this.
Oh man, Izzy's very, very excited. So she's my
I,
little 3-year-old.
Izzy,
Here, let's put your headphones in.
what's up, Izzy? We could kind of see you. Hi. Oh, that chair is so short.
Okay.
Hello, Izzy. Hi.
Can you say hi?
How are you?
Here, you want to stand up a little bit so they can see you? There you go.
Do you like traveling all over the world with your family? Is it so much fun? And you're going to Boston.
What do you say to mommy all the time? High five, Boston.
High five, Boston. Oh, you're so lucky. And I know you're in Seattle right now. I actually live in Seattle, so we're kind of like neighbors. I know. And it's so sunny and nice out today. But do you go camping?
Do you go camping?
Yeah.
I do.
Do you like
That's
camping?
Yes.
I love to go camping too. I think it's so cool that your mom takes you and your dad around everywhere.
Do you think that's cool?
You're so lucky. You've seen more places than probably I've seen.
I have a unicorn.
You have a unicorn. I love that. That's awesome. Hey, what's up, Nick?
Oh, you want me to get your unicorn? Sure.
Oh, she wants to show everybody her unicorn.
Of course, we have to see your unicorn.
Yeah, so I know a lot of, well, actually, we have some really good friends from college that are going to start travel nursing
I love that.
this summer. Actually, shout out to the Helms family,
There you
and
go. Cool.
we actually keep just like a little box of stuff for Izzy. So like, because she obviously can't take like all of her toys with us, but like she's gotten really good at like donating her toys to like other children and things like that while we're on the road because she accumulates stuff, but then we also just
Yeah.
whatever fits in the box is what she gets to take.
I love that
Yeah.
so much. That is so cool.
Hey, Nurse
What's
Blake,
up?
how's it going?
How's it going, Nick? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You're one heck of a photographer.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Kind of just was a hobby. It was something to keep me busy with Izzy, and then it kind of picked up from there, and I really had a good time with it. So
That's
appreciate that.
I love your family. I love what you're doing. So you have a master's degree.
I do, yeah, in
Which is-
recreation and sport management.
Okay, and you're actually just you're not really taking any time off because now you're a stay-at-home dad, which I know is like it's like having two full-time jobs. I think
Yeah, no, it's it's funny. I always laugh at myself. I've got a master's degree and I'm doing nothing with it, but I'm taking care of my daughter. I'm having a great time doing that. It's not the traditional lifestyle that we kind of expected for ourselves, but it's been amazing. It's been a great experience thus far.
I love it. I think what you guys are doing is so awesome. What's the favorite place you've been to so far?
Well, I think since she's extended so many times here, it's definitely been Seattle. The Pacific Northwest, it's amazing. We've never seen anything like this, and there's so much to see. I mean, we've been to Canada multiple times. We've gone to countless camping trips up here. Mm-hmm. With the Albuquerque was really unique too, just the Southwest. We had never really spent time there, but there's just something about going to specifically like Olympic National Park. We've been there, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now in the 8 to 9 months we've been here, just because it's beautiful. I mean, you've got rainforest, you've got mountain ranges, you've got coastal plains. It's all in one park, so it's been great. Yeah,
I've been in Seattle now for about a year too, and it's awesome. I love it.
Here you go.
And then you sound like you got some big adventures coming up. Boston next.
Yeah. Really excited for Boston.
What I love about nursing is that there's so many different paths that people can take. And this one has allowed you and your family to see like so many places. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And really, if you weren't in nursing, it wouldn't be able to provide you. I'm sure there's some other occupations and jobs, but nursing, like you can really, like you said, Brittany only works 3 days a week, and then she has extended time where you guys could spend together and travel and camp and see places.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so blessed that we are doing this, and that in addition to the time that we get together, I am in a career that I love, and taking care of children has always been what I wanted to do as a nurse. Like I knew when I was in school, and never thought it would be PICU, quite honestly, because I was terrified of it when I did my clinicals. But I'm so glad that that's how it worked out. And now that we're doing this, getting to see all the different PICUs everywhere, I feel like I've been able to learn so much from every facility and just like take those little bits with me to each new place.
So when your daughter is, at the age to go to school, like what's your plan then?
So she's actually going to be one of those kids that's old for her grade.
Okay.
So, we'll probably travel through next year and then probably settle back, somewhere, which we haven't really figured out yet. We've just been having fun kind of living in the moment and, going to these new places. And in addition to that, it's also really helped us pay down student debt.
Nice.
Which has been amazing because, as everybody knows, school is super expensive. And so I think we're going to be somewhere permanent. We just haven't figured that out.
We're not ready for that yet.
Not ready for that. Just keep on living, keep on track. I think that's what's so important. Yeah. Nick, what would you say to someone who's a nurse with a family and they're kind of having second thoughts about travel nursing or they're interested in it?
Yeah, we were that family when we first started, especially with a 1.5 year old. We're like, there's no way we can't make this work. We both have good full-time jobs back home, and it's something. I think the biggest thing for us is we were splitting shifts basically. Brittany would work on the weekends, and I would work normal 9 to 5. So we didn't have family time. We didn't feel like we were raising our daughter the way that we wanted to. We were lucky to have our Izzy has 3 great grandmothers that were able to take care of her whenever we were working. But I think if you feel like you're in kind of a rut, I think it's something to consider. And we would never have, going back now, hindsight, this is the best decision we've ever made.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's any advice, just do it. We live by the Nike. We got a lot of Nike stuff, so we just live by Nike. Just do it. Definitely would recommend it. So
it is really scary because we're big planners. Like, okay. I mean, you can ask any of our family or friends. Like, I mean, when we did our wedding and stuff, it was like almost 2 years out. We had everything like to the day. I handed everybody like a folder with like minute to minute. This is what we're doing. This is where everything goes. So like for us to kind of like let go of that and just go with the travel lifestyle was a huge like leap of faith. Yeah. I think. I mean, and we prayed about it a lot because we were super nervous. But I think everything works out the way it's supposed to. And, yeah.
For sure. So thank you guys so much for coming on. People can follow you. What's your Instagram again?
It's Going Gone Garcia's.
Okay. I will share that. I will put that in the description after this video is over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you share this video. And I want to talk. Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to do this again in Boston because I want an update on how everything's going.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. I'm Nurse Blake. This is Nurse Brittany and her family, and I will chat with you guys later. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Miss Blake.
Bye.